Hello, give it up. This is OK Squirrel. I am Martin. This is Luigi. Hello.
How are we
Oh,
doing?
oh, was that me?
That's it, Luigi. You did the intro. Fantastic.
Oh,
I enjoyed it.
okay. Yeah, kicking things off in handsome style.
Go. What we're kicking off with? We're going with we're redefining.
Well, I say redefining. We're defining what the OK Squirrel podcast is. It's going to be more structured, but no less fun. In fact, it's going to be more fun.
Oh, fantastic news.
We're going to be have more content. It's going to be sexier.
Hopefully, more information, like useful information, not just me trying.
Yeah, Martin's put in a lot of effort into it. I'm doing extracurricular activities that you can find on the Facebook and Instagram and Twitter or social media.
We're all
As,
over it,
yeah, like a rash.
like a bad rash.
I was going to say a sexy rash.
Oh, no, we're bad. Bad to
The
the
theme of the
bone.
week is sexiness. We're going to be sexy.
Sexy bad.
Yeah.
Like a biker chick.
Yeah, like that, but with less herpes.
And more grease.
More, loads of grease.
Just a greasy monster.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, already off tangent. What are we starting with?
We're going to start with what we've been doing. So, a bit of news, a bit of updates.
We do a bit of news. Okay. Oh, bloody hell. Should we not talk about what happened last night in London while
Yeah.
I was there?
Were you around, were you?
Oh, yeah. I was just on the train to Waterloo while all the news came through, and it's like, oh, lovely,
Lovely.
great. You know. Yeah. No, I went to. I was at a private show for free wine of an exhibition on Japanese rural architecture and film photography. It's a kind of, but there was free wine, so
Did you take advantage?
I only got two, and then
That's
we
disappointing.
had
What,
to
two
go. We went,
bottles?
yeah, two bottles. No, because then we had to go back and had a look around the exhibition, and we tried to go back to the free bar, and it was closing. It was closed,
Well,
but it was very nice. So it was a friend who's was the has set it up.
okay.
Set up the
Who's a
expo.
friend?
Family friend
Oh,
called
nice.
Soston, and it's very good for her because she curated the whole exhibition, and it was a big old thing at the Barbican, and it's in contact with the Japanese Foundation, blah blah blah. Anyway, slightly off point. Point is, I had a couple of glasses of wine and went to Wagamama's.
Oh, how was Wagon? I've been to Wagamama's once, and I ate on my own.
It's overrated and it's too expensive for what it is. There's places, if you're ever in London, go to there's a place called the Banana Leaf, which is like Wagamama's, almost like half the price, twice as good.
Oh
It's
wow,
just
that's
brilliant.
that's just the way the future should be now.
You can't argue that. It's probably not half the price, but
You
it's
said it is, so I'll have a
okay. It's
dispute when I go.
anyway. What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? I've been playing some games, watching some Iron Fist.
Oh yeah, I hear Iron Fist is cack. I hear it's
It's
shit.
shit.
Yeah, I like it's someone was like I saw a video where someone was triumphantly going, Marvel have finally done something totally shit, which I find slightly amusing. I don't want to like obviously you only want good things to come, but it's kind of good that they've done something that is just unequivocally. Well, I haven't seen it, but shit,
It's bad in every way.
that's what I hear.
The acting is terrible, but you think they'd make up for it in the martial arts. No,
Yeah,
no,
apparently,
it's like every character's in slow motion, but they're actually going as fast as they can.
right.
It's just pathetic.
Apparently, the story's like ridiculously overcomplicated and boring and rubbish. Apparently, he is a bellend. Apparently, he's like, and it's like apparently the story is, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, it's some self-entitled white dude who goes backpacking for a few months and comes back and tries to get daddy's fortune.
Well, no,
He
it's not
tries,
quite like that.
isn't it? He tries to get back his dad's.
Well, the whole
like
idea is that he's come
business
back and he
company.
wants to like just sort of be involved with the family, but then he gets involved with the business and he's trying to like sort of make the business good again, but then nobody cares about the business. Like, and you'd think he spent 15 years in this like heavenly monastery, okay, becoming the Iron
Monastery.
Fist. Yeah. But the dude's he's got such a high temper. He's so quick to anger, and
So they haven't zen.
he's stupid.
Yeah, they haven't zened him out.
Exactly. You'd think, he'd be proper zen and be like understanding. But no, someone says something which is blatantly trying to antagonize him, and he just jumps. But then he'll be so like almost brain dead when he's talking to people, and then he'll switch and try and be like this business dude. It's just the worst bit of acting you'll ever see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's there's nothing about it that's likable.
Yeah.
But I'm trying. I'm trying for it. It's what we on now? First, it's been out 6 days. I'm struggling to get through it.
Yeah, I'm not going to even try.
It's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
So I don't know what's going to happen with the Defenders. Some people are saying they're going to leave him out. At least recast the guy.
Yeah.
But even everything about the show is though like we kind of have to do it because we said we'd do it, and it's like half-hearted and let's just make it so it is bad, so we've got a reason to not have to make it again.
Yeah, no, it's a funny one. But yeah, oh, that's good. So Marvel have done a stinker.
Such a stinker, yeah.
Such a stinker.
But to be fair, I look back and it's made me look back on like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and I'm like, they're not that great.
I said that originally. I enjoyed Daredevil to a point. Like I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was great. And Daredevil series 2, I'm halfway through, and I have been for about, I don't know, 6 months. And I just haven't got round to finishing it. Jessica Jones, I watched the first episode of, was like, oh, it's all right. Never watched anymore. Luke Cage just didn't bother, even though that sounds actually like maybe I might give that a go again.
The first half of Luke Cage is good.
Right.
And then it's just stupid.
Yeah, but so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been totally swept up by the Marvel TV train.
No, I'm starting to realise that I haven't, or I've been sort of lured in by the Marvel name.
Yeah, telling yourself you've been lying to yourself.
Exactly, and I apologise to myself and to the viewers.
Yeah, yeah. Do.
What have you been up to?
I saw Kong Skull Island.
Right. How was
Yeah.
it?
It was good.
Really?
It sounds like I'm going to damn it with faint praise to say it was literally middle of the road, 3-star fun, which sounds, like I'm doing it a disservice. But I am easily won over by big monsters fighting other big monsters. That's something I like to see. I enjoy the monstrous on screen. I like them when they're big. It looks really good. It's got a kind of really nice, I don't know, Platoon, Apocalypse Now style 70s Vietnam war film tone, and they do that up in the graphic style and the coloring. It's all oranges and blues, and it looks really cool. It looks good.
Okay.
Kong is obviously the centerpiece, who is very, very well realized. He's huge, but still not big enough to fight Godzilla, which is what the next.
Yeah,
well,
they're definitely going on for that next, aren't they?
There's Godzilla 2 coming out, I think, either next year or 2019. And then there's King Kong versus Godzilla after that. And there is a little sting at the end of King Kong. It's not spoiling anything. There's a sting to set up, a future encounter.
Yes.
Which I like because, again, big things fighting other big things. And I really like Godzilla. And I actually really like the Godzilla that this studio did before the 2014 Gareth Edwards one. I'm I'm actually seems like I'm one of the few that are a big fan of that film.
Yeah,
I
the
actually,
only one.
I actually think that film's still a lot better than King Kong. It has a nice kind of backbone of the war analogy. Is it's set up where the film's sort of set in the 70s, and it's coming off the back of America pulling out of Vietnam, and you've got soldiers like, well, yeah, commanding officers like Samuel L. Jackson who are, what's the term, butthurt that they've had to pull out um, of Vietnam. It's kind of a shameful conceding to victory as they see it. Um, so there's this whole idea that fighting these monsters in King Kong is a battle it's a war that they can win, is a quote that he uses. And it's this kind of American posturing of they have to have some kind of achievement. He
Yeah,
doesn't want to go back having lost. So it's this, the kind of war analogies are all kind of, they're there and they're in check and they work out, and there's a kind of nice backbone to that, but it doesn't get in the way of the fun, which the film primarily is about. It has a light tone. John C. Riley is really good. I've seen some people say that he's a kind of like tonal misstep, having this kind of quite blatant comedy character pop up halfway through the film. But I think he's really good, has some genuinely good laughs, and does have a slight kind of emotional backbone to him that you kind of follow and you want to see him get through. And it has a kind of nice little denouement at the end involving him, which I actually found slightly touching, which I always thought was quite nice. Funnily enough, starring everyone's favourite Tom Hiddleston and, well, Oscar winner from last year, Brie Larson.
mm.
It's funny that they're the weakest links in the film. They are really bad, really, really stilted. The script has its faults. Some of the lines are pretty on the nose and lacking subtlety, shall we say?
Right.
But some of their interactions are just awful. Really, oddly, if you kind of left them out of the film, it would almost be because these surrounding characters, the scientists, John Goodman, and the army guys led by Samuel L. Jackson, but with a crew of quite well-rounded and characterized. You got Toby Cabell and the guy from Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl plays a young guy which is a film I liked from a year or two ago, and he's in it, which was good to see. And they're all quite well-rounded and fun and interesting, and not totally hateable douchebags like you often get as when you have an army crew that are like meant to be the overt bad guys, but they're not entirely. Obviously, Samuel Jackson's pretty much spelled out to the trajectory of his character from the offset.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. Brie Larson and Tom Hiddleston are kind of crap, but it doesn't really matter. Because again, they're not the central focus. The way the monsters are put up on screen are kind of really fun and inventive, and they look good, and they're really tactile and heavy. And when they battle, there's some moments you kind of want to cheer them along, and you wince at it, and it's good fun. It's a good fun film. It's nothing. It's interesting. It's by a director called Jordan Vogt Rogers, who or is it Roberts? Jordan Vogt Roberts. Jordan Vogt Roberts. He directed a film called Kings of Summer in 2013, which was a wonderful, very very indie spirited film about a kind of coming of age story, Stand By Me style, of kids who go out and live into the woods, and it's very funny, very playful. But
That is I'm not sure if I ever got round to it, but I remember the trailer. It was amazing.
yeah, and it was an amazing film. It was just totally wonderful and engaging, and and I was worried that he was going to get lost in this kind of big scale, essentially a second feature film, going from such a small independently spirited film to such a big budget, Hollywood tentpole feature. But it doesn't. He still has this kind of playful edge. The film still looks good. He does still have a voice in the film,
Right.
which is good to see. It's not, it's not a standout. It's not going to be topping anyone's end of the year list, but it's a good, fun pre-summer blockbuster. It's totally passable. It doesn't have the kind of like the cinematic heft that Peter Jackson's version had in 2005, which has its detractors, but is still quite a grand vision of the classic story, the 33 version. But it's totally passable. When the monsters throw down, it's fun. Some points you get almost bizarre kind of uh, tonal left turns when, for some reason, Tom Hiddleston suddenly has a samurai sword and he's just slicing through these kind of bug creatures in kind of slow mo in a mist of green haze, and it's a very kind of overt stylistic focal point at this. But it's kind of fun, and I was kind of laughing with it to a point. It's good fun, and I think it's enjoyable. It's just comfort food for me. I like seeing big monsters, but it's well done. It's been getting some pretty sniffy reviews, and I don't see that. Yeah, no, I liked it.
See, for me, I find it weird. I've always never got on with big monsters in films.
I love them.
I don't know why. I just don't get it. But the only one I did sort of fall with, let's say, is Pacific Rim.
That's what I was literally just about to say. What did you think of Pacific Rim? Which is, for me, one of the just the best action films or sci-fi or whatever you want to call it. It's Guillermo del Toro, the guy who did Pan's Labyrinth and Hellboy and all that stuff. He's just the best director, and I think that film is the high point. It's the
But imagine if all this Kong Godzilla is the prequel to Pacific Rim.
Yeah, they've talked about doing it. Well, no, they haven't, because it is Lionsgate who Pacific Rim was co-produced by, I believe. So there is kind of the idea, but Godzilla is a very different entity, and the whole kind of setup of is that these creatures are mythological. There's this whole kind of prehistoric. There's a science, very loosely drawn science foundation in King Kong, of that there's this undershell of the planet, and there's a kind of another ecosystem that lives below the surface, and that's where these guys come from, and Kong is from, and then you've got Godzilla, obviously, whereas Pacific Rim is
like a hellhole.
Well, so yeah, Portal. There is this one thing. I'm looking forward to Pacific Rim 2, which isn't going to be made by Guillermo del Toro, but is being co-written by him and overseen by him still.
Okay.
But there's my one gripe with Pacific Rim, and don't get me wrong, I think Pacific Rim is one of the best films of the last 10 years. I think it's absolutely wonderful. No joke. And just shows up Transformers for everything that film.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you look at it and you go, oh, so it can be done. You can have enormous, digitized animations smashing into each other, and it feel hefty and weighty, and you actually care about what's going on and the characters inside it, and just totally shows up. The only thing is the final fight scene, which is in the rift between the dimensions underwater.
Yes.
Kind of the whole great thing about those fights, and especially that fight in Tokyo, which is just the most, where he has the big boat as a sword and all that stuff, which is the most spectacular and stunning set piece in any blockbuster of recent memory. He chooses to stage the final fight in that underwater, where you have no sense of scale, so you can't tell that these guys are as tall as skyscrapers.
I suppose, though, he's built that up throughout the film.
Yeah, you do, but so you're then put into this kind of near alien world underwater, which is still fun because it still has fun with that environment. But I just don't think it was, quite the same. But the whole setup to that film, I remember seeing that going. The only thing I wish I was 8 when I saw Pacific Rim, to be honest, because that would have been the best film ever if I was 8.
And I don't know how well they marketed themselves with terms of like merchandise and stuff.
Oh, you think they should have been more on the toys?
I feel like, yeah, because it is a kind of like, your Transformers-esque film.
Yeah.
But, I've never seen a kid walking around with a Pacific Rim monster.
Yeah, and I love, that's the thing. Again, talking about the design of monsters, that's what Guillermo del Toro's always been about. His films are always to do with the monsters. So, like, obviously Pan's Labyrinth is about girls kind of
I've never
using
seen
monsters.
it.
It's the best film in the last 20 years.
It's fucking creepy, in it.
Yeah, a little bit. But there's an adoration and a love for the monsters. It's in fact, apart from one central piece in the middle of the film, it's not the monsters that are the terrifying thing. It's the humans, because it's kind of taking part during the Spanish Civil War, and it's the horrors aren't the creepy crawly things that live in the dark or under your bed. It's in fact it's the human aspect of the story that's the horror. And it's what's going on in the Spanish Civil War that's truly barbaric and horrifying. And there's a character who's her stepdad, who's one of the fascist officers, and he is just the worst villain you've ever seen. And yeah, but same thing with every kaiju in Pacific Rim was this beautifully designed, like grotesque but fascinating and wonderful giant monster, and they all were distinct and had kind of traits and personality in how they were built. I thought it was just amazing, wonderful. But yeah, King Kong, 3 star.
3 stars. Ah, that's alright, isn't it?
Give it a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. That's a bit better.
Well, that's the same as 3 star, isn't it? 3 out of 5.
No,
6
not
out
at
of 10.
all.
Well, it's the same thing, isn't it?
Shut up.
Okay.
You been up to much else then?
Yeah, I've been doing something. I've been doing something for our social medias, which is I'm trying to get more focused on kind of albums and music, because there's a few things coming out that I'm going to want to talk about. And I'm writing about, on our Facebook and Instagram, an album every day. It's just a little blurb, but essentially it's a big undertaking, because you think it's just writing a little blurb every day, but then every day you've got to do it. And so far I've only done, what have I done? 6, maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to keep it a bit diverse and a bit mixed up. But essentially it's every day I will, curate and pick an album. It may be a classic, it may be an underrated gem, it may be one from the past, it may be something I'm just happen to be listening to now, it may be whatever it is. It may be an album that comes out on the day or whatever. I will be giving it a little blurb. So far I started with a bit of a niche one.
List them all, come on.
I had Paradise Lost, who's a British doom metal band from Halifax.
Nice.
Yeah, their 2015 album, The Plague Within, which was just what I happen to have just bought and listening to a lot, which is a really, really nice, big, epic doom metal album, which I'm a big fan of. But then I realised I'd kind of started with a bit of a niche one, so I went back to a classic, mixing up genres and so on and so forth. I went with Public Enemy's, second full-length, third kind of album, Fear of a Black Planet from 1990, which for me is the cultural high point of old school hip hop. It's just one of the greatest albums ever. And it's, sadly as relevant as it was in 1990 as it is today, especially with what's going on in America culturally and racially. And at the end of every blurb, I pick up some standout tracks. So if you look at it and you go, oh, I've heard of that, or maybe I want to hear about it a bit more, I pick 2 or 3 standout tracks. So go, if you want to be sold on this album, listen to these. So Fear of Black Planet, I picked Power to the People, which is just a rousing, angry classic, and Burn Hollywood Burn, because it's especially with the whole whitewashing of the Hollywoods and the cry for diversity over the last couple of years. It's insane that this song was written in 1990, which features
in a way,
which has it's of its time, but also embarrassingly relevant. It hasn't, which is
time hasn't progressed.
No, yeah, well, in minutia maybe, but yeah. So those, for example, of that. I then had Bad Brains, which is their self-titled album, which is from my favorite hardcore punk album of the 80s, which is Rastafarian mix of jazz fusion and hardcore punk, with these kind of reggae interludes, um, which was DC hardcore band, very political, very fast paced, big riffs, like super hardcore punk, but with some kind of really intense songwriting and standout little hooks. So like the standout tracks on that were Sailing On, which for me is just the opening track, which is my favorite and has the best hook, the most catchy, but also the fastest song in like punk history.
Right.
I adore it. And then you got, what else have I done? I went super in, like I went see how far I could push it, which is my one of my top 10 albums, which is Converge by well, no, Converge's album Jane Doe, which is their 2001 high point. It's just the most intense. I think I said it's like having your face blown out the back of your head, but in the best possible way.
Sounds relieving.
Yeah, it's the most cathartic endurance task imaginable. It is, it's not going to win anyone over because it is one of the heaviest, most abrasive albums ever. But bloody hell, it's doing things that I haven't heard any album ever do. It's one of the most rewarding, most complex, listening experiences I've had in, well, ever. And if you want to get sold on that, listen to the song Homewrecker, which is just an onslaught, but it's an onslaught that builds and has these breakdowns, and you just if you want something really, really super intense that kind of, I don't know, push you over, if you go to the gym or something like that, listen to just Homewrecker. That's the track I'd single out. Then the last two I've had was the day before yesterday. I had my favorite grunge record, which is Dirt by Alice in Chains, who are obviously, you've got Nirvana, obviously have Nevermind, which was the breakout, what made grunge and alternative rock the biggest genre of music in the 90s and the early 90s. You've got Pearl Jam, whose first album 10 is still one of my favorites, but then they went on to be one of the biggest rock bands in the world. Pearl Jam did, whereas most of the other ones were kind of left behind, or Kurt Cobain died, or Lane Staley, the lead singer of Alice in Chains, died in 2002. Or you've got Soundgarden, who have always been good and flirted with the mainstream and stuff like that. But for me, it's Dirt, which has, song for song, the best grunge record ever. And it's like, you've got absolute enormous tracks like Rain When I Die and Wood. It's their second full length. And if you ever want something just like really, really awesome alternative rock, metal, kind of metal, this album is the one. It's the one album that metalheads hate grunge because it made like rock music and metal music, made it the mainstream, and it made it kind of more poppy and more accessible. Alice in Chains is the band that even metalheads still like and respect because they've got kind of edge and they've got the big riffs and so on, but it's also accessible enough that, in the early 90s it was huge. It was like as huge as Nirvana and Pearl Jam and so on. But bloody hell, listen to Wood or Rain When I Die. Rain When I Die has one of the biggest, most like anthemic and catchy choruses in any song ever. And then Yesterday, this is a special one for me. I've been absolutely obsessed with this album. It's by one of my favorite bands called Baroness, who used to be a kind of sludge metal band from Savannah, Georgia, in America. Georgia.
Never heard of sludge metal.
Sludge metal is the best kind of metal. It's like sludgy, slow stoner rock.
Right.
So yeah, imagine like sludgy riffs. So that sound it's very much a Southern American thing. So Atlanta, Savannah, Georgia, all that area. But their fourth full length, Purple, which came out in 2015, and it was the album they did after, in 2012 they had a very much near fatal bus crash in the UK while touring. And it was unlikely that the band was ever going to get back together or be able to, it lost two of their members just because they couldn't, get over what had happened. They had to have like extensive surgery, and one of the lead singer, John Baisley, nearly lost his arm, and he's got an enormous scar down it. They had to have skin grafts from burns. It was a real, it was a amazing that none of them died. Because if you type in Baroness bus crash and you see how it kind of careered off a bridge.
Oh right, so it's a proper.
Oh yeah, it's a proper thing, and it's amazing that none of them died, but they were all badly injured. Two of them, the bassist and the drummer, couldn't, reconcede their, I don't know, the trauma
Oh
that with
shit.
it. Yeah, yeah, that's Martin, who's just had a look at the image. But John Baisley and the guitarist who's the lead singer, and he does the art. I post the album art for each time, and I like to kind of have ones that look good. And the lead singer has always done the album art, and Purple is just this beautiful, artwork that he does himself. But he came back, and what could have been an album after such a kind of brush with death and traumatic experience, it could have been a really kind of dour, downbeat, solemn, sad album, is in fact just the most kind of triumphant, life-affirming rock album you've ever heard. Like, they set aside almost all, which they've been doing on their previous record as well. There's almost none of the metal elements. It's just a straight rock record. There's more singing, there's more kind of melodies, but this has absolute bangers, like insanely like rousing, fist pumping rock songs that's if you like, I don't know, if you like Foo Fighters,
Yeah.
or the Queens of the Stone Age, this is that kind of accessible, mainstream, radio friendly rock music, but just done with so much passion and art and power. I think you'd you'd easily like it. Like I say, the hooks. I can't help but I listen to music in the shower. I get my speaker in the shower, and I don't believe in singing along in the shower, but I can't help it. You're literally just there. Like, the choruses are so big and powerful and epic and catchy, and some of the songs are kind of real that build, and they're really just emotionally cathartic. Basically, I've been wanting to do since the first day. I've been wanting to, because I've been listening to it again, and I've actually finally kind of, I really get it. I've been wanting to do that since the first day of the album of the day. But Baroness's fourth album, Purple, is just, you should listen to it. And what you should listen to is the standout tracks, which is the first single on it is called Shock Me, which is just this instantly powerful, epic, catchy rock song. Try to Disappear is one of my favorite. Chlorine and Wine is like, starts quiet, and by the end it's just this triumphant, shouting along together, really, really powerful song. And then the last track, then there's an outro on it. If I Had to Wake Up, brackets, Would You Stop the Rain, close brackets, is like really, really powerful as well.
Sounds emotional.
You'd like it. Yeah, it's super emotional, but not in a way that in a really happy and enlightened way. It's like a really uplifting album.
Empowers the listener.
Oh, mate, it's just awesome. You're going to listen to it after. Anyway, and that's the one. And for today, I haven't decided what I'm going to do for today, but it's going to be good.
I'm excited. And these kind of things, they're good for me, where I don't know much about music.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
So I can touch in, get the hint of, get a grab of each of these albums from your hot list.
Yeah, just listen to the standout tracks. If the standout tracks don't do anything for you, then the album's probably not going to do anything.
No.
But, okay, Converge is a kind of, it's niche. But Baroness, I'd love to get this band even more known than they are, because they are just...
Well, this is the platform for it.
Hopefully, yeah. And I'd like to get feedback. We've had a bit of feedback from people. It seems to be going down quite well, actually, which is cool. So I'd like to, be a platform for discussion.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I'd love to have feedback, but I'd like you, so your cultural catch-up is to listen to Baroness's album, Purple.
I'm down for that.
And like I say, just listen to the 4 tracks. This is the thing. I tried to keep the standout tracks to 2 or 3, and I just couldn't. It was... Yeah, I couldn't leave them out. But yeah, you'll dig it.
Diggy. Man, I've been playing some games.
Yeah, hit me.
So I've played a bit. I'm not going to say a lot at all. By a bit, I mean like 2 hours of a new Mass Effect.
Oh yeah, have you bought it?
No, see, I got EA access on Xbox One,
Oh,
so
okay, yeah.
I get to have a play around.
I'm
Uh,
hearing it's kind of disappointing.
yeah, see, I've never played any of the Mass Effects, so I can't
Oh,
really comment on where it stands with the others. But I can sort of comment on my short experience.
yeah.
The graphics, I've seen quite a lot of reviews where people are pointing out, they were
The
better
funny
10 years
animations,
ago.
the face
The
face
funny
animation.
animations. See, I even popped a thing on our Instagram of there's
Oh
someone
yeah,
there with they
saw
just
that.
got their hand on the floor, but one of their fingers is like totally fucked up over the others. And it's stuff like that, and you see people walking funny. Well, what's going on, man? It's took them what
BioWare have
five
never
years?
been. Yeah, BioWare have never been the best on animation. Like I think in stills and stuff, like I've seen some clips of the worlds and the planets you can go down on look great.
Mm.
Like from what I've seen, they look pretty impressive. But it's the and even the faces in still don't look too bad. But then in motion, you're like, what are they
I
doing?
know.
Yeah,
But from what I can see, from what I can tell, your characters, like your progression arc, there's a lot of detail in there. I can see the appeal of it.
yeah.
But for me, it's getting into that. I haven't. I probably need the history of playing the previous two games to.
3 games.
What are we on now?
This is the fourth Mass Effect.
Ah,
Well,
see, that's
there's
how
Mass
well.
Effect 1, 2, and 3.
Here's me thinking
Um,
this was free.
2 is this is totally unconnected. 1, 2, and 3 are the arc of Shepard,
I
Commander Shepard
understand now.
of the Normandy, and they're great games. First one's good, but good, very ambitious, but but to a fault in that the mechanics of it weren't quite honed. 2 came in much leaner, much tighter game. Some RPG fans called it almost linear, but had a really great propelling thrust to it, which was you had to go on a suicide mission and you had to get a crew of companions that would that could make this suicide mission almost possible. And it has this great hook and propels you through it. And for me, 2 is by a mile the best Mass Effect and one of the best games on the previous generation of consoles. 3 then, for me, well, and for many people, took a bit of a downturn in it quality wise. It was still kind of good and it rounded off the story that I didn't mind too much, but the mechanics became a bit tiresome for me, a bit too much of the kind of cover shooting for what I
Yes.
was interested in Mass Effect 4, which was more the story and the exploration. But yeah, and Andromeda is a totally separate story, not to do with the same characters, in a different galaxy. This thing, they're colonizers, aren't they?
Yes, they're pathfinders.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they call them. So it is a totally separate story. You can't. What the wonderful thing about the Mass Effect trilogy is that you could bring your save over from your previous games. So
Yes.
you'd play Mass Effect 1, you'd finish it, and you'd make choices, moral decisions, and so on and so forth, that you'd carry on over into Mass Effect 2, and that would affect your game. And Mass Effect 2, it's no spoiler because the game came out in fucking 2010 or whatever, is it ends with you doing the suicide mission. And on the suicide mission, you can make sure if you've got a good bond with your teammates and you've done enough research and side missions and stuff, you can make so that your team, none of them dies. For mine, 2 of them died, but it was and you've got a team of like 8 or
Okay.
so. I'm really glad that I had a couple that died because it left kind of scars on my team, and for the next game that I had to deal with that weight. You can do it so everyone on your team dies. You can do it so even Shepard, the main character,
Yeah.
dies. Obviously, that means you don't really get a third game. That's the end of the story. But you can do it if you're so awful at the game and you've done none of the kind of prep or the side missions or anything like that. You can do it so everyone dies. Apparently, that's really hard to do. And then that carried on into the third game. So in the third game, you'd have some of your friends, you'd been through something together, and you did actually feel that of like seeing old friends that you've been through a lot with, which was a great thing. So, but this new one is totally unrelated, and you have none of that. But
Yeah. So I've been playing another game as well. One you recommended, XCOM.
oh yeah,
I got XCOM 2, and straight away I realised how frustrating the game can be.
oh yeah. You've got to do it right. This is the thing. It will take a bit of trial and error, to be honest.
So
But
I'm already on my second attempt,
yeah.
and I feel like I've given up on that.
Oh,
See, the thing I find more annoying than losing your characters is them being stood right in front of an enemy and missing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing because it's all uh, percentage based and it's done on,
Yes.
you know.
But come on. A
Yeah.
baby could make that shot.
Good at. I'd like to see that.
It could. It's just got to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
But fucking hell, he misses. And he misses. And then
Yeah.
everyone dies. But I definitely enjoy, once again, the talent tree of it all. You know, your progression of each character. Hopefully they don't die.
Yeah.
But you have basically, then you got another rookie coming through.
Oh, dude, when I've had, have you named them all and so on?
See, before my second attempt, I created Martin Hudson, you know,
Yeah.
the world's best ranger.
I'd say never make yourself because that's difficult.
Yeah,
I
it's the
make
first one to
friends.
die.
I have people. Yeah. I have people like I'll make it. I'll name it after. I'll say one will be Polly Baker or or Ryan or Martin or whatever. I
Yeah.
name them after people I know. And like that, when they die, I'm like,
Yeah, Polly died.
Polly died. No, Polly is a badass. Polly still exists in my game.
Is
She's
she?
like an insane sniper.
Oh.
She's like the best person on my team. No joke.
See, it also quite annoyed me that I created my character thinking I was going to be a sniper, so I selected ranger.
Yeah.
And of course, a ranger isn't the sniper.
No.
No, a ranger is a closer,
Yeah.
as I call them.
But yeah, no, you gotta get into it.
I just need the time. I need to. It is a game where I think you just need to keep going and you start again. But I did quite like how when I restarted, it wasn't the same missions all over again. You know, you're in a different area.
It's different every time. It's all kind of procedurally generated and stuff like that. It's mental.
Yeah, which I do appreciate that actually. It makes restarting a lot more enjoyable.
It feels just like it is more of a progression, even though you are going back and starting again. But it still feels like you're progressing. You know what I mean?
And I think one thing I need to get in my head is stop being so aggressive. I don't need to run through every map as quickly as possible. I need to, cover myself.
You've got to work your tactics out.
It's a proper chess match.
You got to flank. You got to
Which, it comes with playing the game, I assume.
It's a bloody good game, mate. Well, I've only played the first of the the recent XCOM, but I hear the second one's badass as well. So yeah.
Well, that's it. I will update as I go.
Yeah, do. And you know what? Just put on Shock Me while you're doing it, and you'll feel like a badass. Put on the Baroness album.
Oh, and just go to town.
Yeah, you'll feel good. Anyway, what's next?
What's next? So we've popped through some news. We've done quite a bit of reviewing.
Yeah, we have done a bit.
Cultural catch-up. You've already touched on that. Me with Baroness.
Okay, yeah. Your cultural catch-up is Purple by Baroness.
I've also popped on there Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's,
because I feel like it is a film that I should have seen.
Yeah, you should have. And that is just like there's no way you'll come back from that not going. Oh, it was just amazing. Just.
We'll see.
And if you do, I quit. I quit.
Oh dear. So I gotta hope that I hate it. But I've got one for you. I've been thinking. I recently rewatched Warcraft.
Yeah.
And I believe you haven't seen it yet.
Still haven't seen it, but still want to.
Do it, man.
Okay.
It really is an enjoyable film.
I'm going to watch it.
I just enjoy it, and that's sort of my only one for you.
I'm going to watch it. I'm totally up for that. I love Duncan Jones. I think Duncan Jones is a great director, and it made me quite sad when kind of reviews started rolling in on Warcraft and it being a bit of a disappointment. But I'm still going to give it a shot because I like him a lot as a director. I liked his previous two films, Moon and Source Code, a lot. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
That's fantastic news. Thank you for your
and what
approval.
Else? Yeah. What else do we have coming up?
What in terms of releases?
I don't know. Yeah, what's going on?
What is going on?
I'm definitely gonna see. I'm gonna see Get Out as soon as I can, which I'm very excited about.
Yes.
Jordan Peele's social commentary / horror film, which I'm very, very excited for. I'm hearing great things. I'm going to see what else is coming out this week, 24th. No, Ghost in the Shell's next week, isn't it?
I'm not sure,
Um,
but it reminds me. I need to get myself a cinema card.
oh, are you going to do my thing?
I'm gonna do it today, man. I need to be doing this, don't I?
It's a good idea. It's especially if we're doing this, it means we can see everything, and then we can
Everything.
catch up and review
And
everything.
I'll have a slight clue of what you're on about.
Precisely. Precisely. What else is coming out? I know there's some stuff coming out tomorrow. I might be going to cinema today, but we'll see what's going on. I still haven't got the opportunity to watch Logan again, which I really want to. Which kind of bums me out a bit, to be honest.
And I thought you loved being bummed out. Oh, Beauty and the Beast. That is one I need to get into.
Yeah, that's one I'm probably not going to catch.
You
So
sure? I was listening to the soundtrack the other day, man.
yeah?
It just gets you pumped.
Does it get you pumped? Listen
Yeah.
to Baroness, I'll get you pumped.
Okay. I doubt in the same way.
Oh, I don't know, mate. Yeah, it's the shit, mate.
Ghost in the Shell out the 30th. Yeah, we're looking next week there.
Yeah, I'll be checking that out. Um, something's out tomorrow. What is out tomorrow? Have I talked about L?
L, no?
Oh bloody hell! I'll do a quickie on L. Lelle is the new Paul Verhoeven film, director of classics like RoboCop, Total Recall, Starship Troopers, lesser to a lesser extent Showgirls, but then back up again. His last film was back in like 2005 or something. It was Black Book, which was a spy, a World War II spy kind of thriller, very sexy and provocative spy thriller. He is always someone that has delighted in provocation and satire and black comedy and violence and controversy and so on and so forth. And Elle is starring Isabelle Huppert, legendary French actress, who was nominated for the Oscar for the best performance by a female in a leading role. Blah blah blah.
Cool, cool.
Obviously, she was never going to get it because this film is a scabrous rape revenge black comedy, which sounds like you can't do this, and in a way you can't, but they have, and it's part problematic, provocative rape revenge thriller,
All right.
which is very, very gruesome, very
Yes.
unpleasant, and very confrontative. But it's also a kind of social satire. It has these elements of of scabrous black comedy. It's an oddly hilarious film in a really buttoned down, often unpleasant way. It is uncomfortable. It has these almost fetishized, perverse sexual politics. Very aware, though. It's not one that becomes exploitative, but it has these very peculiar sexual politics that are skin-crawlingly uncomfortable at times. And it does. So it's about this woman, this well-established middle-aged businesswoman, French businesswoman, who works at a computer game company, which a computer game that make games that are kind of quite objective of women and exploitative, and she's says that they should be even more so. One day, when she's at her house, her quite nice, luxurious house in the suburbs of Paris, she's broken into and assaulted, and she's raped, which the film returns back to almost forensically, almost fetishistically at later parts in the film, as you kind of unearth who it might be and what's going on, and her memory and her perception of it distorts it into ways which is almost fetishizing it,
Yes,
which
yeah.
is very strange and uncomfortable. How she reacts to it though is incredibly calmly. She collects the broken glass off the floor. She goes and has a bath. She cleans herself. Then she goes out for a meal with her friend and a couple of friends and so on and so forth, where she tells them, she was like, "Oh, yesterday I was assaulted and I think I was raped," and they're like, "Right."
What?
Yeah, and it's then this film that at part is a thriller of finding out who did it, what's going on behind it, and it's part this kind of social exploration of kind of the middle class, upper middle class kind of discomforts with sex and violence and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. It's just a bizarre thing. There's loads in it. It's an absolutely fascinating film, one that's definitely problematic and has issues with it that I won't even try and unfold. But it's oddly enjoyable in a way. It doesn't do light on the subject. It is still, as it should be, kind of torturous and unpleasant and
Yes.
stuff. And it's not for everyone because it is a very well, it's very edgy to say the least, and it's quite a grueling experience, but it's a fascinating one, and like I say, an oddly enjoyable one.
It's quite intriguing.
Oh man, it's God, it's quite something, and it's great to see Paul Verhoeven back making films. Um,
Where did he
and
go?
he started writing a book about Jesus or something.
Oh, fucking hell, that was a mistake.
Yeah, he did some mental stuff. He's a mental guy, but he's done some of, I always cite RoboCop as being the best film satirizing American business and politics. It's the best satire of the 1980s and probably the best action film as well. And then you obviously got Total Recall and Starship Troopers that are similarly
Yes.
wonderful. And it's just fantastic seeing back with something so edgy and Isabelle Huppert, the sexual politics of it, I think, would be even more in question if you didn't have a woman as in command of the screen as Isabelle Huppert. You believe the character, and it becomes something that's not about women or about rape. It's about, you are watching a story of a woman who is, in a way, she explains it as a feminist role because it is about a woman taking things, controlling a situation where she's been put in the position of least control, but she is turning it on its head and using it not to her advantage, but to be able to manipulate it and control it. So she has the power. It's about in empowering a woman in a sense, but not through rape. That's what's so kind of edgy and difficult about it. It's fascinating and really, really uncomfortably, darkly, jet blackly comic.
Yeah.
But there are moments where you absolutely laugh out loud, partly because of the social awkwardness or the absurdity of it. But it's really, really great. That's the other film I saw. There you go.
And that's out at the moment? No.
But it came out. Well, it came out a week ago, but obviously because it's on quite limited release, so you might have to hunt it down if you wanted to see it.
Okay, maybe I'll be able to catch it.
Yeah, if you want something that's gonna,
Is that one of the weird ones where you shouldn't go to the cinema on your own to watch it?
Maybe you shouldn't go to the cinema with your mum like I did.
Did you?
Yeah, no, we both enjoyed it. We're past that point.
Okay, you're both into that.
Well, yeah, okay. I'll ignore that.
You got anything else that's been happening in the world?
No, I'm happy.
I'm happy and all, man. I think that's about it for our thing that we do where we talk to each other. We should think of a name for it.
Yeah, we should.
One day we'll think of that. Hey, man, been good. It's been good. That's it.
Great.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Well, see ya. That's been a pleasure. Bye.